So we are in the middle of bank runs part 2 taking place, and of course this is not good for the economy. However, this may actually benefit a lot of stocks in the tech sector, including Tesla. So I encourage you guys to watch this video in its entirety because it's a little bit interesting how this all ties together. So there's breaking news that First Republic Bank is most likely headed for FDIC receivership. And of course, after that news, we saw the stock for that bank tank. Now, I know you guys might be wondering, how is the stock falling down even further? I thought it already crashed. No. It's getting even more bloodier, and this could cause a lot of pain in the finance sector once again. Now, what's very ironic about this is that just last month, we had Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, say that, Silicon Valley Bank was an outlier. Last month, he even went on to say that the US banking system is strong and resilient. However, it's looking like that's really not the case that's happening. Now, I want you guys to see that First Republic Bank is not a small fry bank. It's actually one of the biggest financial institutions, number 14th with assets under management, so it's pretty up there. Now, just a while ago, we saw Silicon Valley Bank get obliterated. However, First Republic Bank actually kind of got saved, right? It got saved by all the other banks helping it out by, voluntarily giving it money so it doesn't collapse and cause a domino effect. However, the money that was handed to First Republic Bank is looking like it wasn't enough money.
It's not enough.
Now, you guys may be wondering, well, what's gonna happen with First Republic Bank? Now, we still don't have a clear answer yet. However, if we just take a page from the playbook of Silicon Valley Bank, well, we gotta ask, well, what happened? Well, we had the government intervene and they actually restored deposits 100% above the threshold of FDIC insurance, right? So they made depositors whole, but who did they screw over? The investors. Now, I wanna go ahead and tie this down to how this actually impacts Tesla stock. So I want you guys to stay with me because I know it could get a little bit complicated, but I need you guys to stay with me. Now, if you guys go on Google Trends and type in bank runs and First Republic Bank stock, you're gonna see that there's a big uptick back in March. Well, why is there a big uptick? Well, that's because at that time, it was just all over the place with these bank runs and what's gonna happen with First Republic Bank, and that was in the beginning of March. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to that time frame, the beginning of March. What ended up happening to, the overall stock market, especially in the tech sector? Well, during that time, we saw stocks like Tesla actually bounce up. But not just Tesla, the overall NASDAQ index ETF QQQ saw a massive spike up when we had the bank runs. Now, you guys might be asking, well, why would a bank run, or why did a bank run last time help the overall NASDAQ tech sector go upwards? Now, to answer that question you may have, I want you guys to remember, who got screwed when Silicon Valley Bank got obliterated? It wasn't the depositors, right? Because the government intervened and they helped them. It was the investors. And so what did the investors do? Well, they had to either take their L's, right? Well, they had to take their L's. And where did they put their money after they took their L's? Well, they had to put it in the tech sector. Why? Because the tech sector at the time was much more of a safer bet than staying in the finance sector, right? Now, I'm not saying that the tech sector is in a bullish market currently, but it definitely may be, again, more appealing than staying in the finance sector where we may just have a domino effect. It was stopped last time. However, is it going to be stopped again this time? Now, just to give you guys a good example, just today alone, look at First Republic Bank tanking. However, when you go to take a look at Tesla stock, we see that Tesla stock is actually bouncing up from its lows. Kind of similar to what happened the last time we had a bank run. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that when something is burning, something else is earning, right? There's a lot of opportunities. You just have to look in a different place. For example, today in my private Discord group, I showed a trade idea for Apple where I showed that there was a lot of bullish sentiment in the options flow, and we had a great trade with Apple as Apple had a great spike up early in the morning. Now, for those of you guys wondering, how do you get access to the private Discord group? There's actually a 90% off coupon code that expires on May 1st. So check out the link in the description of this video or in the comment section. I will pin it, but I want to go ahead and kind of just have a deeper discussion with Tesla stock. Now, full disclosure, I am bullish on Tesla in the long term as I do have exposure to Tesla in my long-term portfolio, but I wanted to show you guys something that I thought was pretty ironic that I think you may want to see. So recently we had a fellow YouTuber, Meet Kevin, who is a mega bull for Tesla, visit the house of Gordon Johnson, the guy on the right side of this photo, who is a mega bear for Tesla, and he is an analyst, and he's been bearish on Tesla for years. Now, what makes this photo very ironic is that me Kevin points out in the photo that this Tesla bear has a bear skin as a rug, or bear felt, whatever you want to call it, as a rug in his house. Now, it's very ironic because he's been bearish on Tesla for years, and if you've been someone who's been invested in Tesla for years, you know that Tesla has made a significant return over the years. So it's kind of funny that he has the skin of a bear as a rug in his house. Is it perhaps his own bearish opinion on Tesla that has been slaughtered and laid on his own house? Very ironic. Now, something else that I think is pretty interesting is that if you look into the photo, you see that he has a bunch of extension cords under this fur or bear skin, whatever you want to call it, and it looks like that's kind of dangerous, and it looks like he's the type of guy who would not only be wrong about Tesla, but be dumb enough to do something like that by having a bunch of hot cords under some bear fur. Just thought that was pretty ironic. Now, I know that's not Tesla news, but it is something that I thought was pretty funny. Now, I want us to just take a look at Tesla in the short term. Why? Well, because I know not everyone that watches my videos are long-term investors for Tesla. Some individuals are traders for Tesla. They trade Tesla up and down. And I do both, right? I have a long-term investment portfolio where I have exposure to Tesla on my long-term account, and I'm bullish on Tesla long-term. But I also have a trading account where I look at Tesla in the short term. And when Tesla falls down, yeah, I may buy puts or I may short Tesla. And when Tesla goes up, I may, buy some shares or calls on Tesla. So I have a trading account. And so with that being said, I wanted to just highlight some things on Tesla in the short term, looking at the technicals. Now, when we look at the technicals, we see that, of course, Tesla has been very bearish. I mean, we've seen these areas where we have these crazy relief rallies. We saw that in the beginning of the year. We had this major rally, then we kind of fell down a bit. Then, of course, when we had the sector rotation from financials into, tech, we saw Tesla soar up again. However, we're seeing Tesla come down, and especially in the recent earnings, after we saw that Tesla is slashing margins because what they're doing is making their EV cars more affordable to stir up demand. And so we're seeing a lot of investors kind of become more, bearish on Tesla. We're seeing Tesla kind of come down a bit. However, if we take a look to the right, we see that we're in an area where there's a lot less volume by price. Now, something I talk about over here in this channel very often is that when there's very little volume by price, well, that means a stock is going to go rapidly up or down. Why? Because there's less exchanging between the bid and the ask and people buying and selling. And so if we have some buying pressure come into Tesla in the short term because we have another sector rotation of risky financials into tech happening all over again, well, that could push Tesla stock right back up to the area of maybe 180 again. Again, we have to really be patient and see what ends up happening. Now, for those of you guys that are new to the channel and you don't understand volume profile, I highly recommend that you guys check out this next video right over here, because I break down exactly how to look into volume profile. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care.